All right, grade 11. We're going to do page 166 of your textbooks, activity 6, number 2. No, number 3. Activity 6, number 3. Right, so here it is. Learners must create and present a computer-related presentation in class. And you all know what it's like when you have to do a presentation in class, and then the teacher says, okay, Johnny must go first. So that's a random decision the teacher makes. Let's just randomly, that person must go first. So no favorites there. We're going to write a program to do just that. The teacher can just use a computer program to display the names of the learners in a random order. So first of all, though, we've got to read them from a text file. So here's the jolly old text file. And it says there's 10 names, okay? 10 names from a text file into an array. So we're going to read from a text file into an array. So that's something new. And then we're going to display it in random sequence. The easy part is reading from a text file. Then we worry about this random number that we have to generate, So that's going to be tricky for real. But let's do the read first. First of all, we know how to read from a text file, don't we? Because we did that last time. So we can go and check if not file exists. And in brackets, it's called, what is it called? Names.txt. Then we're going to show message and exit. Show message, no file, and exit. Exit. Right, now we're going to do the other thing, the sound file statement. File. We need a text file variable. We need S1 line, string variable to read each line. We have to use our sound file statement now. My file names.txt. Then we go reset my file. Then we say while not end of file. We do want to read all of them, don't we? So while not end of file do. We're going to use our while loop. And then we have a read ln. Read ln from my file into S1 line. So you know all of that already. We get to this point and you've got S1 line. We read from this text file and the first name we read is that. But we're going to go put it into an array. Well, we must declare a global array. So let's call it ARR names, just like before. Call an array. This time we're going to have 1 to 10 of string. And remember, the count ARR, integer. There we go. And over here, we're going to set our count ARR equal to 0. Because why? Each time we read a line, we're going to increment our counter. Increment our count ARR. Oops. Wrong place. Increment our count ARR. There we go. And then we're going to say ARR names, square brackets, remember the square brackets for the indices or the box number, square brackets, our count ARR equals S1 line. There it is. And while we're about it, let's just go and display it in the rich edit so you can see that we're reading all the lines. Already output, dot lines, dot add, ARR names, square brackets, our count. Okay, I could have done this somewhere else, but I'm just doing it here. We don't actually necessarily have to do it here, but we're doing just for display, to prove that we did go and put S1 line into our count ARR. So remember I told you yesterday, or the day before, whatever, that we have a global array. We have an array, and now we're going to use a counter. We're just going to travel along with ARR names to count how many names have been read. But these are going to be 10. We know it's going to be 10, but we're setting our counter to 0 here, and then inside the while loop we increment it, and then we use that number. We know it'll be 0 first, and then when we increment it'll be 1, and when we read the line it'll be AR names, box number 1 is going to hold .s1 line, whatever that name is. Right, so just to prove that it works, let's go and click on our read button. There it is. Okay, now in the display button, the display button has been disabled. I'm just going to go and make it enabled, because seriously I don't want to play with that right now. We haven't got time for that. In our read button we just read from the text file. Okay, so we don't necessarily want to go and put that in there, but that was just to prove, you know. But in the display button we're going to get random numbers, but I'm also going to go and clear my rich edit, you know. Oops, dot clear. Then we have to go and display our array, but we've got to do it randomly, and that's going to be the tricky part, eh? We're going to use a random function to generate a number from 1 to 10, and then display the name for that index of the array. Now, once we've displayed it, we're going to put an empty string in its place of the array. So, if the same index is generated again, then we know that it must not be displayed and a new number must be generated. So, display the names in a random sequence in an appropriate component. The code must be written in such a way that none of the names will appear twice. So let's go to our drawing board, our Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so right, so we're going to have 10 names. Okay. Okay, so we're going to have 10 random names, alright? I'm just using letters of the alphabet just to, so I don't have to type 10 names in. Okay, so we have 10 random names. What's going to happen here with this program is that we're going to go through each, well, no, we're not going to go through each box. We're going to use a for loop. Well, not even a for loop. We're going to generate a random number, okay, from 1 to 10, okay, and each time we generate a random number, okay, so our ran is going to go from 1 to 10. So if our ran is 2, that equals 2, then we will display the R, and we're going to basically leave an empty string there. Right. If the RN is if the random number 2 is generated again, well, it will see, okay, that's empty, so we've got to generate another number. So we're going to loop and loop and loop. But for how long are we going to be looping for? Let's say RN is now 1. Okay, so then we'll display the 1, and then we're going to replace it with an empty string. Then if RN is 1 again, oh sorry, RN. If RN is 1 again, well, we have to go and generate another number, and we're going to keep generating another number until we get a different one. And we don't want to have 1 anymore because it's empty until it's empty. So we will repeat generating random numbers. But what if it's 3? Okay, so then we're going to go 3. Okay, we'll display that, and that will be empty. If it's 7, then we'll take that one, and that will be empty. If it's 6, we'll take the 7, display it, and then put an empty string in its place. If it's 4, then we're going to go and get that one and go put an empty string in its place. If it's 4 again, well, it's got to go and generate another number. Let's make it 8. Right, so 8 can go. Display 8. And then if it's 5, then we're going to display 5. And if it's 9, we're going to display 9. Looks like, and what if we 9 again? That's empty. If it's 10, then we're going to display 10. So this looks like we're going to be doing everything until all the boxes are empty. Right. So if all the boxes have got empty strings in them, then we know that we have actually displayed each one inside in the rich edit. So this is quite a tricky one. This is quite a tricky problem to solve. We can try in different ways. And by the way, I don't look at memos or anything. I'm solving it from your eyes. So basically, you know, it's like I'm looking at it the same first time. Basically, that's what I'm doing. That's what I do. And we're going to see we solve this together. So we'll see that when the problem has to be solved in such a way that if they generate the same random number twice, well, because it'll be empty strings, so we're not going to display anything. So I'm going to write some kind of structure here. I know I'm going to have a random number for starters, okay? So let's go and do that for starters. ran, integer. Somewhere in my code I have to generate a random number. Random range, and the range has to be from what number to what number? 1 to 10. 1, 11. Why? Because we want to go from 1 to 10. Any number from 1 to 10. Therefore you say random range 1, 11. So somewhere in my code I'm going to use a random number. Another part of my code I have to go and see if that character, the name that's in that box number, if that is actually an empty string or not. Okay, let me just go and put this back again. I want to Control C. I actually want to go and paste special transpose. Right. There we go. So so there is my names, okay, and I want to, whenever we generate a number, okay, say it's 3, then we're going to display that box in that particular name into the rich edit. So there's another line of code that I must put in here. Already output dot lines dot add. We're going to put our loop around just now. AR names. Oh, it's already output. Output dot lines dot add. ARR names. Oops. ARR names. Box number. ran. But once we've displayed it, what are we going to do? We're going to say ARR names, box number ran must then be set to an empty string, so that we don't put a duplicate name in the rich edit for the next time. So we are going to do these things in a loop. We just haven't decided yet what loop and how, how many times we're going to have it running for. So far we know we must get a random number, we know we must display the name using that random number, and then we're going to go and do this. But we only display the name if the random number, the name is not an empty string. If error names, box number ran, because maybe previously we made it an empty string, like there we're doing it. If ran is not equal to an empty string, then we will do this, begin and end. Right, so we've got that code sorted out. So if ran is not an empty string, we will display it, and then we'll go make, if that name is not an empty string. So for instance, if my random number is 3, okay, then I'm going to take G, go and put it into the rich edit, and then I'm going to make that an empty string. Okay, that's what that code is doing right over there. Right, now we know that's one thing. We know we're going to be doing this over and over again. Yeah, so that's going to be tricky. Are we going to do it 10 times? Are we really going to do it 10 times? We can't, because ran is going to be, you know, we could have more than one random number generated. So yeah, we've got to go until all the boxes are empty strings, until each one of these has been moved, you know, and they're all empty. These must all be empty. Then we can say, how are we going to check if all of them are empty? Right. Well, there's a couple of ways of doing it, and I can think of one way. I'm going to go here, while b empty equals false, do begin and end. Just bear with me here, this is going to be quite interesting. Be empty. Now, as I said, you probably know a different way to do it. If you want to do it a different way, if it works, this is one of those kind of problems where there are many ways to do something. Now my be empty, I'm going to use that Boolean variable over here. You know, the first time we do this, we know that Rn is going to be a random number. Okay, so let's think about the first time. Okay, the first time we do it, we're definitely going to have a so what's the name going down? But what I'm going to do with be empty is I'm going to say another loop over here. I'm going to go through each box. Each time I go and get another. Okay, let's go put these things back. How do I check if all of these are empty? That is the question. How do we check they're all empty? Because that's the only time we want to stop this loop from happening. Is if everything is empty, then we're fine. How do we do that in a loop? Well, I'm going to increment counter. I have a counter that's going to count each time I have an empty what's the name? That's what I'm going to do. So each time we set something to empty, let's go and increment our count empty. That's one way, because we're going to count, not so. There's only one empty, so it means they're not all empty. If there's 10 empty strings, then that's fine. And we're only going to count it when we actually set it to empty. So, right, I might not use my Boolean. I like old Boolean, we call them Boolean flags, but let's go and check if this I count empty is probably a better way to do it and not worry with a Boolean flag. So I count empty is going to be set to 0 before any kind of loop that we have. We know we're going to be doing some kind of loop, hey? Whether we're going to use be empty or not, I don't know. Yeah. We can go over here and check. We can say if I count empty, but then you might as well just use it. I count empty equals 10, then be empty equals true. And we don't go and do any more. So, yeah. That's one way to do it. Okay, that's one way to do it. But I could have just used I count empty. Well, I count empty is not equal to 10 or less than 10. As I said, there's many ways to do this, you know. I could have put my I count empty as a condition in my while loop over here. But instead, I used a Boolean dollar type and checked it there. Let's go and see if this works. And I'm going to use A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, whatever, 10 names. Okay, and then we'll explain it again. Or you could watch it again. Oops, display. Oh, my word. We didn't use, we used different, yeah, we used a thing. Okay, we used a text file. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. and 10. So there we go, display, and then we display it again. Okay, now you can't display it again, it's going to bomb out. Run program reset. Right, so that actually worked perfectly fine. Read, that's the original list of names, there they are, and display is going to reorganize them, and there's no duplicates, so everything works perfectly fine. I actually quite like my Boolean flag there, but what if I didn't use it? What would I do then? Take out the Boolean flag, and we'll say while I count empty is less than 10. Because think about it, if it gets to 10, okay, we don't want it to go run through again. And that'll work perfectly fine. We don't need the Boolean flag, so to speak. Perfectly fine. Right, so that was a nice little problem to solve, and you must try and do that by yourself, and if you don't understand, watch it again. Okay.